In this video tutorial, I would like to demonstrate how the browser handles form data. Here we have two text boxes, a password box, a group of radio buttons, a text area, a submit button, and a reset button. If you look at the HTML code, my form tag has an action attribute. There is no value. Typically, the value of the action attribute will be the name of the server script that will process the form data. If that is missing, it will actually just submit the form back to the same page, or more accurately, to the current URL. Here I have a text box and a corresponding label element. Next, my text box has both a name and an ID attribute. The ID attribute is used for JavaScript and for CSS, and it also associates the label element with this form element for purposes of accessibility.
The name attribute is used to uniquely identify this form element for the server. Each form control that needs to send data to the server must have a name attribute. The name attribute will be paired with a value that the user either will enter or check, and that will be sent to the server for processing. In the case of radio buttons, because they are mutually exclusive, meaning only one can be checked at a time, they all have the same name attribute, but different value attributes. The name attribute does not always have to be unique. For example, a group of radio buttons shares the same name, so the browser knows they belong to one group. Some checkbox groups may also share a name when they are being processed as a group. When I click the button that is coded with type equals submit, the form is submitted to the location listed in the action attribute, and the name value pairs are sent to the server. Every form control that should send data to PHP needs a name attribute. The user will type in a value, or the user may check a value. When I click Submit, you will notice in the address bar that the data is being submitted back to the form, and you can see the actual name value pairs being sent over. Notice name equals value, ampersand sign, name equals value, ampersand sign, name equals value. That is the syntax. These name value pairs are being sent somewhere. Ideally, they are being sent to the server, but in our case, they are just being submitted back to the form. Notice our form tag does not have a method. Therefore, the default method is get. The get method appends the name value pairs to the URL as a query string, which is why we can see the submitted data in the browser's address bar. Because get places the data in the URL, it should not be used for sensitive information such as passwords. Get is useful for non-sensitive requests, such as searches or filter options, where having the information in the URL can be helpful. Suppose I were to click Reset Form and I clear my form fields. Now I'm going to submit the form data again. Notice I have no data. However, notice what is sent. Fname equals nothing, ampersand sign. Lname equals nothing, ampersand sign. PW equals nothing, ampersand sign. Comments equal nothing. Text boxes and text areas by default contain an empty string, and that will be sent to the server as long as the form control has a name attribute. Radio buttons and checkboxes, on the other hand, need to be checked in order for data to be sent. Notice there are no radio button values here. If I were to check one and click Submit, now I see gender equals female. Now I've entered some strange data in my comment box. I have an apostrophe, an ampersand, some quotation marks, a percent sign, and a dollar sign. If I were to submit that data, notice how it is transferred. Some of our characters are encoded. Blank spaces are represented by a plus sign. However, my other characters are encoded. This is URL encoding, also called percent encoding when special characters are represented with percent signs and hexadecimal values. So when data is sent to the server, some special characters will be encoded. This encoding helps the browser safely package form data into the request. It does not mean the data is automatically safe to display on a web page or store in a database. PHP still needs to validate submitted data and escape output before displaying it. I have added a drop-down list. By default, the first choice in a drop-down list is selected by default unless another option is marked as selected or unless the form is designed with a placeholder option. When I click the Submit button, you can see that the value from my drop-down list will be returned. So far, we have seen that an HTML form can collect information from the user. Our form includes a first name, a last name, a password field, a group of radio buttons, a drop-down list, a comments box, a submit button, and a reset button. Now we are going to let PHP read the information that was entered into the form. Because this page will use PHP, the file must be saved with a PHP file extension. This means the file should be named form.php, no longer form.html. PHP code must run through a server. That means Apache must be running in XAMPP. To view this file, I need to save the file inside my htdocs folder, start Apache in XAMPP, and open the file through localhost. Let's look at the form tag. Earlier in the video, the form used an empty action attribute. I removed the action attribute from my form, and I added a method equals post. I'm not going to use a separate process.php file in this example. The form and the PHP code will be in the same file. When the form submits, it will come right back to the same page. That is why I do not need the action attribute in this form element. The method post part tells the browser how to send the form data. Post sends the data to PHP without placing the name value pairs in the browser's address bar. This is the method we will use when PHP is going to process this form. Each form field has a name attribute, and PHP uses that name to find the value submitted from the form. In this first example, the first name field is named fname. The last name field is named lname. The password field is named pw. The radio buttons all share the same name gender because they belong to the same group, but each radio button has a different value. For example, if the user selects female, the form sends gender equals female to PHP. The name tells PHP which form field to read, and the value tells PHP what was selected or entered. The drop-down list is named choice, and the comments box is named comments. Now let's look at the PHP code at the top of the file. This code goes before the HTML begins. At the top, we have our PHP code block. First, I created a variable named submitted, and I gave it a value of false. This is like a yes or no marker. Right now, it is set to false. That means the form has not been submitted yet. When the user clicks the submit button, we will change it to true. Next, I create variables for the form answers. Each variable starts as an empty string. An empty string means there is no text in it yet. This gives PHP a safe starting value. When the page first opens, the user has not typed anything yet. Those empty values help prevent errors when the page first loads. Next, PHP checks whether the form was submitted. This line Ask a question. Was this page opened because the user submitted the form using post? The three equal signs mean exactly equal to, so this line checks whether the request method is exactly post. If the answer is yes, then the code inside the curly braces runs. If the answer is no, the code is skipped. When the form is submitted, this line changes submitted variable equals true. Now PHP knows the user has submitted the form. Next, PHP reads the form values. This line reads the first name field from the form. The form field is named fname, so PHP reads that value with the post superglobal array, and inside of that is fname. Post part is where PHP stores form data that was sent using the post method. The double question mark operator means use the submitted value if it exists and is not null. If it does not exist, use an empty string instead. This helps prevent warning messages when the page first loads and the form has not been submitted yet. The trim function removes extra spaces from the beginning and end of the user's input. So if the user accidentally types spaces before or after their name, PHP cleans up those extra spaces. The value inside $_post fname must match the name equals fname attribute in the form. I'm storing that value in a PHP variable named firstName. The PHP variable name does not have to be exactly the same as the form name, but it should clearly describe the value it holds. That makes the code easier to read. The next lines do the same thing for the other form fields. So the last name comes from LName, the password comes from PW, the selected radio button comes from gender, the selected drop-down option comes from choice, and the comments come from the comments. Now PHP has the form data stored in variables. After the form is submitted, we can display some of the values on the page. We display user submitted text, we should not print it directly. So I'm going to go down after my closing form tag. Now PHP has the form data stored in variables. After the form is submitted, we can display some of the values on the page. When we display user submitted text, we should not print it directly. So echo and then $firstName, this is not the best choice. The echo statement displays something on the web page. The HTML special chars function helps make the output safer. It tells the browser to show special characters as text, not as HTML code. For example, if a user types HTML tags into the form, we do not want the browser to run that as a web page code. We want the browser to show it as normal text. Inside the function, we have the variable firstName. It is the value we want to display. ENT_quotes tells PHP how to handle both single quotes and double quotes. UTF-8 tells PHP to use the same modern code character set used by our HTML form. So if I scroll up here, it's right here in our meta character set. So this line safely displays the value stored in firstName. The comments field needs one extra function because comments can have more than one line. For the comments, we use the echo statement and then NL2BR. So the new line to break function, and inside that function, we wrap the HTML special chars function, the comments variable, the ENT_quotes, and then the UTF-8. The HTML special chars function runs first and makes the user's comments safe to display as text. Then the new line to break function keeps the line breaks from the text area. If the user pressed enter while typing a comment, those line breaks will show on the web page. For this form, we will display first name, the last name, the gender, the comments, and the drop-down menu. We will not display the password back on the page. Even in this example, it is better to practice good habits. Passwords should not be printed back to the browser. I'm going to go out to my browser, and I already have this file opened, localhost It's in the WebD166 folder, in the 04 folder, and it's called form.php. I'm going to type in my first name, my last name, and I'm going to put in a password. And my comments are going to be, these are just, and I'm going to choose an option, dog, and I'm going to submit the form. So you can see that our form data was received, and then here is the information that I typed into these form fields, and it has been output back on the exact same web page. To summarize, the top section of PHP prepares the page to receive form data. When the page first opens, the variables start with empty values because the user has not submitted the form yet. After the user clicks the Submit button, PHP checks that the form was sent using the POST method. Then PHP reads each form value from the POST superglobal array and stores those values in variables. The main pattern is simple. The HTML form collects the information, the name attributes identify each form field, and the POST method sends the information to PHP. PHP reads the submitted values from the POST superglobal array, which stores form data sent using the POST method. Once the values are stored in variables, PHP can use them later in the page and safely display selected results in the browser. Thanks for watching.